How can you get a good dynamic in your team at work, or in your group of friends, or maybe even your family? Are you always hanging around waiting on other people to start your day? Do deadlines get met, or are you always apologising because someone, possibly you, has caused a delay? What if it's a task or an event you don't like and you can't get motivated? How on earth can some people just get shit done? If we look at this in a different light, it's not so much about getting shit done, it's about being reliable and doing what you'll say you'll do in a predictable manner. One of the worst traits of working with people or hanging out with friends socially is having a member of the group who's unpredictable. So, in this video, we're going to explore what you can do to make sure you get shit done, become reliable. You can then use these tools to help others around you who might have gained the rep for being a bit flaky. We've made our video into a list so that you can find out which specific areas are causing you problems and make notes of our suggestions. Do you ever think about something you have to do and realise that it's not as simple as you assumed? Or maybe you get halfway through a task and realise you're stuck because it's not turning out the way you imagined. A good example of this is at work or for your side hustle. Let's say you have to send an email or message to 500 people about a new product that you have on offer. The issue is that each email needs to sound friendly and entice the person to reply, but you sit down to start the task and realise you haven't compiled a spreadsheet or document with a list of emails. They're still on website links. So then, you have to get the emails, arrange them into order, but now you haven't got a template to work from, so you have to create a template or a mail shot where you can be both efficient and sound human. Then you end up Googling the best apps to do this, and eventually your whole day has been spent doing little bits here and there, and you've missed your deadline. One thing's for sure, if the task is boring, you'll find a million ways to create barriers to you reaching your goal. Some might be genuine, like forgetting or not knowing you needed to do a certain part of the process. But others might be self-imposed, where you subconsciously distract yourself and get into a negative mindset to keep you from actually getting on with the task at hand. The small obstacles or barriers make the single task seem more complicated than it is. If you had a structured approach and spent several hours working through the barriers instead of procrastinating and wasting your day away, then you'd feel more productive, more motivated, and the annoying task would be over more quickly. A great way to get yourself motivated is to write a list of the essentials before you begin. What do you need to complete the task, in what order, and anything else related to each step. Once it's down in front of you, dedicate your time and give yourself regular breaks away from the list. Then, if you don't manage to complete it, you can always give feedback and say where you got to and why. Trust us, friends, family, managers and colleagues are more likely to be lenient with you and help you out if you can prove to them that you've been trying your best and that you have actually been working on the issue. Not only that, but if you have a plan in place and address anything that might be causing you a problem, you can present those barriers to others and form a team to work on the task rather than shouldering everything yourself. Something that is sometimes described as healthy sabotage is a method where you deliberately sabotage your comfort so that you can spur yourself into action to get a job done. One of the most famous authors, Ian Fleming, used this method when he was writing his James Bond novels because it was reported that he actually didn't like the process of writing very much. He would put himself in situations where he had no choice but to work on his novels or lose the cash he'd already spent. These things would include visiting and paying for accommodation in towns where there was little or no nightlife or culture to see, deliberately paying for hotel rooms that were lacking in amenities so he would have to finish his novel and get out of there. Fleming only started writing at age 44, and sadly he died 12 years later after writing almost a book a year. He had initially become a stockbroker to get an income and cover his expenses, and he was also a journalist, but as we mentioned, he didn't enjoy the writing side of things very much. In World War II, he became an intelligence officer. Then, after the war, he continued to be active in journalism. Considering what a colourful life he led and was exposed to, it must have taken a great deal of discipline to realise that placing himself in boring situations was the way to get his literary projects completed. If you take anything from this brief biography, it should be that life can be short, and sometimes sabotaging your temporary comfort is a way for you to grow, develop, and achieve your goals. There is an interesting psychological feature called loss aversion. It's the tendency to prefer avoiding losses to acquiring the equivalent gains. Putting that in monetary terms, it means that if someone presented you with a check for 10 grand, you would be excited and happy. But if the tables were turned and you lost 10 grand from your savings, you would actually feel more angry and depressed. The emotions would be deeper than the happiness and would feel more raw. Studies suggest losing something of value to you could make you feel up to twice as bad compared to the emotions you feel when something of the same value is given to you or something nice happens. Sometimes management in the workplace will use this to motivate you, especially if incentives like a paid bonus or other benefits have failed to get the team to work harder. Imagine, you have to make a certain number of sales on your shift. It's difficult and you don't have the motivation to approach customers with your pitch. You are tired and thinking of things other than work. So, when you're offered a sales bonus of $30 a day for reaching your target, this isn't really going to motivate you in the moment because, realistically, that would buy you some takeout or maybe a trip to the movie theatre or pay off some of your phone bill. It's a nice gesture, but your brain doesn't hold on to that notion throughout the whole day. If, instead, your boss tells you you have to make the sales target or they will take $30 from your pay packet every day, or, for example, you'd have to work $30 worth of overtime every day unpaid, this would shock your brain into thinking and feeling panic and fear that you're being hard done by. This is something that you can apply to yourself in a simple way when trying to get shit done. Write a short list of things that will happen if you fail to get the task done in the time limit and to a good standard. Write down how many hours you might lose and what you will miss out on. E.g., you'll get a bad reputation for someone that's unreliable. You might have to miss out on a night out with friends because you've exceeded your deadline. If you're working on a project outside of paid employment, either something personal or schoolwork, you should estimate how much your time is worth per hour. This way, if you find yourself procrastinating or getting distracted, the length of time you spend watching YouTube videos, gaming, or generally avoiding work, charge yourself as if this was coming out of your bank account per hour. Because if you look at the bigger picture, it actually is. This doesn't need an in-depth explanation. The concept is simple. If you are only accountable to yourself, you can get frustrated if you miss a deadline, but you can also be quick to forgive yourself and make excuses. If you tell others what you're planning to do, or they have the power over you, such as a team leader or a study partner, when you flake out, fail, or miss your deadlines, they are not going to be as forgiving, especially if it's not the first time it's happened. If you know that the task is something you'd rather not be doing, why don't you tell someone, tell people you trust and respect? Explain to them your timescale and have them check in with you, or even involve someone else so that you have to be accountable to them. Letting others down and accountability in this method is not the same as guilt. You know from the outset that you have to do the task or attend the event. You know that it needs to get done. You are holding yourself accountable for your actions, and if you do end up feeling hurt or guilty because you didn't perform your best, just hold on to how that feels and use it as a fuel for motivation next time you get into a similar situation. Again, this is something that has been covered in previous videos and is very self-explanatory. Whether you think you have a long attention span or not, the truth is, people need regular breaks and regular feedback for their work. If you find yourself getting distracted or demotivated, even if it was your choice to push through and burn the candle at both ends, it could be because you have reached your capacity for retaining information or focusing. We suggest planning out your schedule for the task or event so at approximately every 2 hours you can take a 20-minute break. This can be a break from the screen, a break to watch something on YouTube unrelated to your task, a snack break, a chat break with someone in your household, anything that allows you to switch off and rest. Once you come back to the task at hand, you know there's only another 2 hours until your next break, or you might even finish before your next break is due. On top of taking time out to refresh yourself, you should also think of daily rewards, such as planning a nice meal in the evening at the end of your schedule, or going to a place like a park, the beach, or a friend's house. These incentives will help your brain to focus on what you're doing because there are clear boundaries and goals in sight, not just an endless treadmill of work, work, work. A lot of self-help videos and websites will talk about visualization, thinking about where you want to be at the end of your journey. If this journey was a task related to work, they tell you to envisage yourself finishing your job, finishing the task. But what does that look like? For most of us, it's probably switching off the laptop, stretching your arms and then using the bathroom whilst thinking about what to eat for dinner that evening. Not very inspiring. I mean, who actually air punches the sky and jumps up in slow motion with a grin on their face? A better way to visualize finishing your work project or task is what the outcome will be for your customers, clients, and colleagues, etc. Imagine their pleasure or the issues you have fixed by completing the task. How will it feel to come into work the next day knowing that you've helped people as well as yourself? Even completing a set of phone calls, filing papers, filling in a spreadsheet, these all have a purpose. So focus on why you're doing it, who you're helping, and the good emotions associated with that. Something that many people struggle to motivate themselves with is exercise or weight loss. If we look at weight loss goals and trying to visualize yourself looking slimmer, this tends not to work. Why? Because it's not something tangible. So, sure, you can use a photo app or you can look in the mirror and imagine your arms, legs or stomach as a different shape. But how long does that take to change? What if you put muscle on your body, or it doesn't look how you hoped and you get disheartened? Instead, when you're looking at goals such as weight loss, weight gain, DIY and gardening, use a physical aid to anchor your visualization. For example, in weight loss, if you measure your loss in kilograms, get a 1 kilogram bag of flour or sugar. Put that in a bag or a backpack, and for an hour of your day, carry this extra weight around with you. Then, take it off and feel the difference. This is how it will feel for your joints and muscles after losing just 1 kilogram. Imagine how good it will feel losing twice that or more. You can then always revisit your physical object or anchor to remind yourself of how real your visualizations are for the future. Let's end on something that doesn't require visualization, objects, or even other people to make you feel motivated. There are little things you can do each day that will make you happy and improve your motivation. You just need to figure out what works for you. Have your phone ready or some paper to make notes throughout your day across a couple of days. What sparks some joy in you when you wake up? Is it coffee? Logging onto social media? Going for a run? Speaking to someone special? What little things keep you happy or make you feel excited during your daily routine? Walking a certain way to work? Seeing a pet or some wildlife? Getting a text or a call from a friend? Once you know what you like, you can then use these as positive triggers and rewards. For example, if you know you like scrolling on Instagram while you eat breakfast, you can tell yourself that you're not allowed to eat breakfast until you've washed up your dishes and put them away from the night before. Or similarly, you're not going to have your nice morning routine until you've done the small task like folding the laundry or cleaning the cat litter tray. If you stick with this kind of mindset, soon you'll condition yourself and you'll find that you'll get a reward for every boring or tough thing that you need to do. And that reward will be something specific to you, not just a handshake and a pat on the back, something that actually has value for you. Flipping this round, it also means that if you encounter one of your good triggers and you have an outstanding task to do, your brain will question why you're getting something nice when you still have work that's unfinished, therefore reminding you and spurring you on in a positive way. If you have enjoyed this video and you're inspired by what you've seen, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Let's change the world together.